Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Good morning, Rebelli. This is from David Brandis from South Bend, Indiana. Been doing the daf since Brochus. I'm looking forward to hearing you say good morning, Rabbi Isai, in person, responding along with 100,000 Yidden in Mirz Hashem at the Simcha Shas and Met Stadium. In the meantime, my twins have taken to saying this all over the house and even had an argument if it's or ach. They were hoping you could include their contribution. Yasher Koyach, as always, Unicruit MDY. Here it goes, I think. No? Not today. Different one. Hold on. We got to get this. Oh, here it is. I see it. Here.
Good morning, Rabbi Isai.
Rabbi Isai. They say it interesting in, hold on, we got to hear it. They say it in South Bend, Indiana. It's very interesting. Make the volume a little louder, maybe.
Good morning, Rabbi Isai.
They're very, very yeshivish over there. This is a Hasidic way of saying it. This is somebody else, I think. I think he's alive. This was sent in by his son-in-law, so it's a Shaila. This is Shlomi Fisher, the plumber from Borough Park. We attended to see him at Bell Works. It was mamish geschmack. Shlomi uses the free t-shirt all the time, even in the pool. Ever since he started, my Scher is a whole new person. This is him in action. He proudly wears his t-shirt everywhere he goes. He does with the chlorine and all. It's geschmack. Shimi Atlas. Rebelli. So, by the way, I started doing the 8-minute daf like a week ago, and people sent in, I couldn't believe, I thought nobody actually watches it, that's why I stopped. Got a number of people that wrote in. When I made a Simon Shas a few years ago, my Rebbe, Harav Reb Shmuel Levine, Tzaddikim of RL was just nifter at a very, very young age last week, 60-something years old, the Rosh of Tells in Chicago. He told me I have to continue learning the daf, but to learn it even better this time, I took upon myself extra chazaras, including the 8-minute daf. When you temporarily stopped, I did not pick up the slack and find another chazara. How fitting that you started again right after Rebbe's tira, like a reminder from Rebbe to keep up chazara. I enjoyed so much. Please keep making them. 4 thumbs up for the Cholent diagram. Keith Reich, White Plains, New York. And if I can get a hard copy in color, signed by Rebelli, $180 to MDY. This guy is a piece. This is Eitan G, and his email is the Jewish rapper at something. This is, if anybody's familiar with Shlak Rock, he's the rapper from Shlak Rock. While doing laundry at Sudsville in Baltimore, I had to catch up on the day's daf. My daughter thought it was funny doing the daf in a laundromat. Just wanted to eat lunch and have some peace and quiet so I could get it done. Okay? So I have this, all the love, G. You know G? Yeah. I was sitting in the standing room. Suddenly this guy taps me on the shoulder and then says, hi. And I was like, who's this? Before I could even respond, it said, Jonathan Austin. And I right away got up to greet the guy. This is a picture of 2 complete strangers in camp that have never met before, but yet meeting each other like we've known each other for years. You gotta love it, Nechemia Seltzer. Now, I want to play for you, Rabbi Chekanow. He's the one in the Spudik. He's a Rebbe in Torah V'das. And this is a message somebody forwarded to me. I don't even know how it got to me, somehow. You ready? Here it goes. Listen to this message.
Thank you so much. And I want to tell you, the whole Shabbos, wherever I went, I kept on telling everybody the inspiration that I had for the fact that how many people from MDY came. And I was telling people what your comment was to my son. He said, I'm best friends with your father. I don't even know him. And I wish I could direct that message to Eli to repeat it, because that is what MDY is. You don't have to know someone to be his best friend. You don't have to know someone to love him. It's just the actus that there is over here. And that is the answer to what MDY makes no sense. Because when you have true actus, everything the Yeshua is there. And I think that's what lies behind it.
Beautiful. So again, he's the one in the bar mitzvah. Son made a siyum on Yevomis. So Mazel Tov Nachamal, that was last week, but beautiful. Achdus. Okay, Rabbi Yisai. Oh, I have to say these sponsors. Ooh. The Koilel is sponsored by Anonymous. The zchus for Shidduchim for his children. He left me a message. I have to look at it. I didn't see what it was. The sponsor of the Masechta, the Nishmas Moshe Elazar ben Shalom, and the Nishmas Yosef Baruch ben Moshe Aaron, and hatzlacha b'chol hayonim for my children. The second sponsor of the Masechta, Jeff Razin zchus my son Yosef Simcha Chaim ben Torah Chana Refuah Shlaima. Last day, but they have renewed again. Shkoyach by the Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood, New Jersey, because Torah is the best segula. You know who this Lock is? I never realized who Lock is, and I just got this here. My son Ami, also known as Andrew Lock, he has a famous store in the Five Towns that does custom suits. And then somebody wrote him a message, Ami, that's Levi Friedman, by the way, making a coffee. Baruch Hashem, he's here on time. I just want to say, however, many weeks have gone by now hearing your dad's Eli Stefansky Daf sponsorship. It gives me mad chizuk. I love hearing it, and I think about you and your family every time I learn. I also think about you every Shabbos when I put on my suit. So, dude, you're basically like responsible for all of my Olam Haba. LOL. The suit and the daf. The two Olam Haba things. Givalde. Okay, what? Sponsors, yeah. We're going back. The second sponsor of Chodesh is zchus for our children to be kadosh, safe, healthy, happy, and Hashem loves them. Parents of Chodesh number 3. Shragi Chafetz RL149 is zchus for my family, myself, and for the Tzaddikim of RL Hatzalah. Parents of Chodesh number 4. Nishmat zechurya ben Moshe. Parents of Shavua Akila family. Nishmat Eliyahu ben Bakmal Akilov. Parents of Yoim Tzvi Shear. On the occasion of our daughter becoming a Kala. Mazel Tov. Sponsor Hayoim in honor and appreciation to Yossi Klein, the one and only Yossi Klein. We all owe him a tremendous akaris atayv. Parents Hayoim number 3, Menachem Scher in memory of. One is Scher. The first one, his daughter became a Kala, and this one is Scher in memory of Yitzchok Ben Dovid Yakov. His neshama should have an aliyah. We miss him. Rabbi Isa, here we go. Today's Daf Chof. Where are we holding? Torah Rabbanon. 9 lines from the bottom of Yutes Amud Beis. Torah Rabbanon. Shnayim chasumim al ashtar umesu. So until now, we were talking about the witnesses themselves trying to authenticate their signatures. They come forward and they say, these are our signatures. We had a gun to our head. We didn't have a gun to our head. Mamen, nefashas. But now we're trying to authenticate the signatures, as is, but they're dead. And then 2 people came and testified to their signatures. Basically, it's the same thing that we had in the Mishnah, just other people are testifying. So again, we have a pesha asar, ha pesha yitir. The 2 eidim that are testifying and authenticating the signatures are the same ones who are saying that they were onos. There was a gun. They were ktanim. They were kroivim. It's interesting because in the Mishnah, I kind of pointed it out while we were learning, but in the Mishnah, Rashi starts off talking about gamblers. And now they're no longer gamblers. Then Rashi goes away from it. As the sugi changes, he went away from that pshat. We're talking about just psula means that they were kroivim. Today they're no longer kroivim or whatever it is. Then they were. We don't have to say that today they're not. But then they were, and therefore the shtar is possible. Hare elu ne'emanim. We believe the second set of witnesses. Why? Same thing like we had in the Mishnah, but now the Edom are dead. But we have proof that it's their signatures. So the new Edom are not believed. How do you verify a signature? By comparing it to another document, to their signature from somewhere else. But the Gemara says it's a shtar shikara olav aror. Irur, aror. In other words, the shtar was challenged V'huchzak bebezdin, and Bezdin authenticated it and said that the signatures are valid signatures. They're good chasimos. So there's actually machlokes rishonim. I pointed it out to my chavrusa and he argued with me, but he was mechaven to one. It says that there was an irur and there was huchzak. What was just huchzak in Bezdin? So my chavrusa tied it. No, typically Bezdin doesn't authenticate unless there's a challenge. But why? I just asked him, why does it have to say challenge? Just say that it was authenticated. Who cares why, how it happened? So it's actually machlokes rishonim. It's brought down in the Martcha, the Torah. Some learn this way, some learn that way. The Ran and the Ramah and the Torah says that it has to be an error because then they're more makpid. If they start authenticate. But if there's a challenge, now they work really hard to make sure 1,000% that it's them. That's how they learn. And that the Gemara that word is there on purpose. So we already authenticated the signatures. We know that they're real. Why are they real? Because there was a challenge in Bezdin. And Bezdin already figured out that these are the real signatures. Then we don't trust the new Eidim because we already know that these are Eidim. So we don't have a Pesha Asar, Pesha Eidim. The only time that the new Eidim are believed is when we have to come on to them. They're the ones saying that the signatures are real, but you have to say that. But they were kroivim, but they were youngsters, but they had a gun to their head. Now we can't trust them about the but because we know it without them. Bezdin already. We're going to see there are other ways to authenticate a shtar, not just through an irur in Bezdin. So it's a great shtar when we can use the shtar. Vamai. Ask the Gemara why. What's that? Vamai trei utreininu. We have 2 against 2. We have the 2 Eidim in the shtar, seemingly saying that it's a good shtar. We have the 2 Eidim outside that are contradicting it. They're saying no, they're not good Eidim. They're apostle. So why can't we say that it's 2 against 2? Anytime Eidim come forward and say, listen, this happened. That's we're going to see in a second. Hazama, Hakasha, whatever it is. Eidim are believed. The second set of Eidim are we trust them. So at least if you don't want to trust them, so at least make them 2 against 2, and then you can't use the shtar. Why are you telling me the shtar is a perfect shtar? Amar Rav Sheishes Zoisei Meres Hakchasha Tchilas Hazamahi. It's very interesting. The Shita Mekubetzes brings that whenever it says these 2 words in Shas, Zoisei Meres, that means that we pass on halacha like that. Zoisei Meres. This is a new halacha. So, a Shas Katan alert. We're going to talk about, for a few minutes, the idea of Hakchasha and Azama. Hakchasha and Azama. Hakchasha means to contradict, like these signs over here. It says no stopping, and then it says stop. It says, this is in Borough Park. In every street you have this. It says no parking at any time, and it says 60-minute parking. That's Hakchasha. Okay? If you live in New York, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's 15 signs. It says you can't park from Monday to Thursday, but if on a Wednesday in the morning you could, but not if there's snow plow or if there's street cleaning, which happens to be every day besides a Saturday. And then you get a ticket. What? I read it. No, you didn't read it. Okay, fine. But this is a mamish hakchasha. Hazama just means that the Eidim say imanu hoyisem. The second set of Eidim come and say, how could you say, we don't know anything about the shtar, it's a good shtar, not a good shtar, we're not talking about the shtar. We just know that you were on an island with us on that particular day. It says here in the caption, I can't tell you what day it is, but I can tell you that it's Daf Chaf. Okay, fine. Anyway, so that's Hakchosh and Azama, that's what we're talking about. You want to show it, fine. So now, Hazama, what's the difference? Hazama, the halacha of Hazama is that if Eidim come along and they say, Imanu Yisem, you are liars. You cannot testify to that shtar, to that thing. You're with us. Whatever they wanted to do, that's what we do to them. If they wanted to take out $1 million, we make them pay $1 million. And if They wanted to kill somebody with their testimony. We kill them, literally kill them. That's a zama. Hakosh is different. Hakosh, we're not saying you were with us, you're lying. We're just saying the facts are different. You're testifying the shtar is good. We're saying the shtar isn't good. It says Rav Sheshes, from here I could prove that Hakosh tchilas hazami. When I deny some of the shtar, when I argue with you on the shtar, you say the shtar is good, and we say the shtar isn't good, it's not the beginning of hazama, but it has some halachas of hazama. And top of Chaf Amud Aleph says, Ukeshem, Shem Azim Seidim Elo Bifneihem, we have halacha that tells us, you cannot do hazama unless the Eidim are right in front of you. Kachim Akhishim Seidim Elo Bifneihem. So to Akhasha, when I deny the shtar and I say the shtar is no good, and you two guys say the shtar is good, we need the Eidim in front of us because it shares halachas with hazama. So that's why you're asking me, why is it not considered 2 against 2? We don't count the 2 Eidim, the second kat of Eidim, we don't count them at all because they're not in front of the other ones. They have to face off with the first group of Eidim, and they didn't. So Mela, we don't count them. Omar Rav Nachman. No, they're makrish the Eidos in the shtar. The shtar is assigned by 2 Eidim. They're saying no, they're bad Eidim. It's not, and therefore it's not a good shtar. You make no sense as Rav Nachman. If they were in front of us, there's more of a reason to say that they might admit to you that you're right. You'll break them down and they'll be embarrassed or whatever. You'll prove to them that they're lying or that they were forced by gunpoint, whatever it is. And we wouldn't trust the first set of Eidim, the Havilei this Mukheshes. So if they were in front of us, there's a bigger reason, and we have more of a chance of denying the whole shtar and ruining the shtar. Hash the less new. And now that they're not in front of us, and now they're not in front of us, we don't believe them. So Rav Nachman doesn't like that. Elo Amar Rav Nachman, uki trei lahadi trei. What we do is we take 2 against 2. What are you doing now? Anyway, Elo Amar Rav Nachman, uki trei lahadi trei, v'ukim amoino b'cheskas marei. What do we have? We have a situation of 2 Eidim that are signed in the shtar. We have 2 Eidim that argue that they're no good. It's 2 against 2. So anytime you have 2 Eidim against 2 Eidim, there's like no Eidim. So what do you do when there's no Eidim? Then the money stays where the money belongs. Now, let me ask you a shayla. Do you see the chart now? So I'll show it here. What's the difference between these 2 cases? If there's akchasha, we say that the 2 Eidim are believed and the shtar is possible. If there's 2 against 2, then it's as if there's no shtar at all, and therefore the money stays. So what's the difference between the 2 cases? We say no, it's not akchasha. We're saying it's not akchasha. They're not strong enough to deny the first 2 Eidim. Now it becomes a 2 against 2. No, but the bottom line is the same. What do you gain by saying that? So for that, let's see if that worked. Says Rashi, when it's 2 against 2, we don't do anything. So we don't burn the document. We leave it. Not only that, when it's 2, let's start with the other one. When there's akchasha, we trust the second set of Eidim, so it becomes puzzle. It becomes puzzle, you burn the document. And if somebody tries to grab money, we don't let him. But over here, when it's trey, first of all, we don't burn the document. Maybe something will happen. Maybe something will develop later. We don't burn. We don't have any. We're not saying it's possible and we know for a fact. We just say that the first 2 Eidim are not enough. But also, if you grab money, we let you keep the money. Okay. Just an important nekuda. Next. Uki trei ladi trei. Buki b'amene b'cheskes marei. Says the Gemara, similar. We have a similar case, the famous case, also a Shas case, Bar Shatya, the Shoita, the Meshugana. The Bar Shatya Zova Nichse. Bar Shatya bought Nechasim. I've been dying to say this joke for a long time. It's not the greatest joke I have to say because we're talking about Shoitim. There was a guy, right? Itim Cholim, Itim Shoita. You see, it's a Shas, so he remembers. Bar Shatya was a guy that sometimes he had it together, sometimes not. But, Itim Cholim, Itim Shoita. Who said what? Rosh Hashanah Chavches. Let's check it out. Oh, because you're looking on the side. Hold on, does it say here? No, it's not on the side. Okay. There's a guy that played sports. Now each racist could put in their own category, whatever they want, but he wasn't very good in school, and they didn't allow him on the team. So the teammates were very upset. So they protested. They said, You gotta give him a chance. We need him on the team. So the guy said, okay, fine. Bring him in front of the whole team. He said, okay, I'm gonna ask you a question. If you could answer this question, we'll let you on the team. How much is 18 plus 18? He thinks, he says 76. You can't be on the team. So the whole team starts chanting, give him one more chance. Give him one more chance. He says, okay, how much is 7 plus 7? 7 plus 7, he thinks, 22. No. So they start screaming, give him another chance, give him another chance. He says, fine. How much is 1 plus 1? 1 plus 1, 1 plus 1. He says, 2. They start chanting, give him another chance, give him another chance. All right. So now you have a whole bunch of shaitim here. Maybe have a nichse de Barshatya. The Barshatya is over nichse. Barshatya he sold. What a shot. But I've been holding this joke for like 6 months. Every time I get to this sugi of shaita. The Barshatya Zav Nichse. Now you're gonna hear it like in a week from now. I don't know if I said this joke yet, but the Barshatya Zav Nichse. He was with it. He had his seichel, sometimes not, and he sold a field. Let's say. Also Beitrei. Now we have a contradiction between the Eidim. Also Beitrei Amrik Shushoyt Zavin. I can tell you he was no good then. He didn't have his marbles together. So he wasn't able to sell to you. It's not true. He was 100% healthy, he was smart, he was everything good. Here we have the concept of 2 against 2. And what do? So the money stays where it started out, and it was in Barshatya's possession, so his sale is no good. Says the Gemara, but we have to qualify it. How did the Barshatya get this field? Because he inherited it from his father. But if he doesn't have a chazaka from his father, so therefore, the same way he acquired the field, that's how he gave the field. Right now, you're telling me he's Meshuggah? So then he bought it when he was Meshuggah. So now you have to give it back to the first guy, let's say. Now he's smart, so then he bought it also when he's smart, and therefore it's a good sale. We're done with Barshatya now. Like we said before, Hazama, when you say Imanu Yisem, you're on the island with us, we saw you in a different country, how could you testify to the murder? You weren't even there. That happened on January 1st. I was with you on January 1st in a different country. What are you saying? That's Hazama. But that must be in front of them. But Akhasha, arguing on Rav Sheshes, who says Zoyisi Meres, the last words on Amud Beis, Akhasha doesn't have to be in front of them. And you're right. Hazama must be in front of them. But if it's not in front of the Eidim, if I say that those Eidim were on an island, so you're right, they're not in front of me right now, but I should be able to be makrish, I should be able to deny the shtar. How could the shtar be a good shtar? They were on an island in a different country. Okay, I'm not going to punish them. To punish Hazama, to do exactly what they wanted to do to this fellow, to take $1 million away from him, I won't be able to take away $1 million. Why? Because they're not in front of us. They're still on the island. But to deny the shtar, I could. Why? Why is that not any better than any akash in the world? Every Hazama is a little bit of akasha. Okay, you're right. It's not the full-fledged Hazama, but it's akasha.
It could still be true. They just don't know.
What do you mean?
What the shtar says could still be true.
Not based on their testimony. They signed the shtar that they saw it in Israel, but they were in America on January 1st. They were on the ski slopes with me. I saw them. So how could they sign it? Omar Mar, we learned that if there's a challenge to the shtar and Bezdin verify the signatures, other Eidim cannot testify in it. Karla of Ir in, like Karla of Ir lie. So you can't just take another document. You can't take somebody's check. Oh, look, I found Ruvain's check. Here's a signature. Oh, it matches up beautifully. Great. In order to authenticate something, you need it to be in Bezdin, challenging Bezdin, sorting through Sharim. But the point is, there was a Maisa that happened just a few years ago where they found a bunch of Megillas, beautiful ksav, and they realized that they're all apostle. You remember the story? Because some Rabbanim said that if you have a stencil and you put a roller over the stencil, it's a good ksav. Most Rabbanim came out against it. There were a couple of Rabbanim said, no, why not? It's koyach, yeah, da-da-da. But then they realized that every Megillah had the same mistake in the same spot, and they took it out. So you have to authenticate stuff seriously. I think it's a major problem with Stam, Sefer Torah, Tefillin Mezuzahs. Also, the Stefanskys that are in the business of Judaica. It's a huge thing to forge a letter from the Chavetz Chaim. You get $100,000 for a fake letter, and you look at it, you copy, whatever it is. Baal Shem Tov, okay? The tefillin of the Baal Shem Tov, whatever it is. The forgeries everywhere. That's in the Judaica. What about in the rest of the world? They have crazy stories of people forging and working really hard to do this. So you have to authenticate. Says the Gemara, only $12,000, he said? How about a good one with the bracha? No, I was at somebody's house and he had one that says, I give you a bracha for children. He said, you had one?
No, he said I sold it at the auction.
You were at the auction. So what was the most you sold the letter for? I'm saying the Rebbes for sure get more, like a Gemara from the Vilna Gaon costs over $1 million, right? Okay. Yeah, okay, fine. But I'm saying for anyways, forgery. Zok the Gemara. Yeah, we said this. Aminar doy. A mekayim is hashtar elo mishtei Kesubos or mishtei sodos. So nardoi add to this. You could be mekayim. There's a number of ways that you could verify a signature. Either Bezdin verified through Eidim, through the Eidim themselves, through other Eidim, through other documents, whatever it is. And there's a way to do it through two Kesubos. A Kesubos is not so much a shtar chayv, but I guess this guy was getting married to a whole bunch. He had like two different women with two different Kesubos. And we see his signature, it's verified. Or he's a real estate guy. And he signed his name on two different documents. If they were there for 3 years, so it's a 3-year-old signature, then it's a good signature. There's no error. Nobody said that to the contrary. Nobody got up and said, hey, I didn't sell the field. Great. Question. If you don't look inside and you don't know what's flying, what's Shalei Shanim? There's two cases here. A ksuba and a sada. We know sada is cheska Shalei Shanim. Does the woman have to be married for 3 years in order for her signature to be a good signature on the ksuba? Why? Why should it be? No, but the years, the three. What's the significance of 3? 3 is significant in a sada, in real estate, in chazaka. So when the Gemara says Shalei Shanim, it's talking about a field. The Ramah says no. It's talking about also ksuba. It has to be a 3-year-old ksuba. I don't know. If you have pshat, let me know. I don't know why. It's a good shayla. Says the Gemara. It's just my job to raise the things that are in left field. Omar Shimi Barashi. Yeah, Rav Shimi. When we were in yeshiva, we always said Simi until the article came along and corrected us all as Shimi. Okay, I do tshuva. I'm doing tshuva. Or we'll do both. Rav Shimi Barashi says, you cannot authenticate a shtar if the guy, this Cheverman himself, look, he has a document that says, you owe me $1 million. And then he has 2 subas that he somehow acquired. He bought an auction, 2 subas that are identical. Say, hey, you see, it's the same signature. That doesn't count because it's him. He himself owns those documents, so he's a ganav. If he's a forger, he's going to take the signatures, look at them, and copy them onto his shtar of $1 million. So you need somebody else. Why is it? Because we're concerned about forgery. Maybe he has a good memory. He'll go in there into the library, whatever, take a good look at it, or in today's days, you take a picture with your cell phone. Says, a cell phone is a problem. It's the same thing as owning it. But just from your memory, you're not going to look at somebody's signature, then go home and copy it from your memory. That doesn't work. Says the Gemara, this Rabbi is going to rock you. You're not going to believe this. You could write down in your diary that in 1997, on this and this day, you saw this and this thing, so-and-so borrowed $1 million from Zazo. It was in front of he was wearing a blue sweater and green pants, the whole thing. And then you take a look at your diary, and then you say Eidos based on what you see here, right? Says Rav Huna, he has to remember the basic details, and he refreshes his memory through what he wrote. Rabbi Yochanan is not saying that he remembers 100% from the document. Rabbi Yochanan says he doesn't remember anything. He looks in his diary, and then he goes, oh yeah, taka. So this brings up the question, could through pictures, could you be mater in aguna? Oh yeah, it looks like him. So they say in aguna yes, but other things not. These are different shilas in halacha. Now, why is this document not considered a shtar? He wrote down, Okay, it's not a shtar because, first of all, he's a idechad. Second of all, it's done without permission of the loiv and the malva. It's not the lashon of a shtar. Okay, but it's an unbelievable halacha. Says the Gemara, if you have two eidim that know the testimony, one of them forgot it completely or forgot, unbelievable chiddush again. One guy tells the other guy, you don't remember? We were standing in this corner. The guy came up with a gun, and then boom, 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 and he killed it. Oh, yeah, I remember. I love this halacha. You know why? Because of this, I scored 100 on the Dirshu 860 daf test. Every shayla they asked me, the Gemara says. They went through, they really did. They went through all the questions, and I don't remember. I got a 0. But after he said, you don't remember this? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, everything. If you masker somebody, that's what it says here. If you masker the guy, you remind him, it's great. Iboilu, atzmai. What if the Baldover himself, the Malva who lent all the money, he comes and reminds you, you don't remember? In front of you, I gave this and this guy $1 million. Oh, yeah. Rav Chaviv, Omar, Afilu Atzmai. We could trust the Malva. Marver the Rashi, Omar, Atzmai Loi. You can't. Why? Because he's going to lie. He's going to stick in he's biased. How can you trust the guy that's biased? It's $1 million. He's going to remind him somehow. No, I don't know if you had it. I sometimes think that I was in a certain place because I saw myself in this picture. I saw a picture. Like I remember when I was 3 years old. Maybe not. Maybe you saw the picture and you think you're there. You know what I'm talking about? It happens. But the Gemara says, we trust. You can't trust the Malva. Says the Gemara Daf Amud Beis, sponsored by Moshe Horn in honor of Rabbi Tzvi Shear, the only Rebbe that's actually good at basketball, and Yankel Cohen, the official MDY MSP, and by Hudi Newman in honor of Veli, the real greatest Jewish basketball player. If the aid, write it in your Gemara, who's the tzurmer? Who's the Talmud Chacham? If the witness is a Talmud Chacham, afilu atzmoi, then even if the Malva reminds the Talmud Chacham, hey, you Talmud Chacham, you Tzaddik, don't you remember this and this happened? He could, the Talmud Chacham, we could trust him that he's using his memory and not using the Malva. Rav Ashi, the author of this Gemara, have a Yediyah Leibis Hadusel of Kahanas. You're going to ask, how does he talk about himself? No, his kid later on, they put it in afterwards. Rav Ashi knew a certain testimony. Rav Kahana says, do you remember? Rav Ashi admits, I don't remember anything. And he tells him, Rav Kahana says, what do you mean? You were here and this happened. No, I don't recall a thing. L'soif itka Rav Ashi. At the end, Rav Ashi remembered everything. Asidle. So he comes to Bezdin and he testifies. Chazal Rav Kahana davim mechaseim. Rav Kahana was in shock. He couldn't believe what he just saw. Rav Ashi admitted he doesn't remember anything. 2 days later, he shows up in Bezdin and says, no, I remember $1 million. You lent $1 million. Omalei. So Rav Ashi sees that he's shaking like a leaf. I can't. Listen, it doesn't make sense what you're doing. So he says, Misaris aloch kos amichna. I know the Ramoy and Avshoy v'Itkiri. I didn't believe one word you told me. I sat down, I concentrated, I rehashed things, and I was able to pull it out of my memory. I couldn't remember then, but I know I went through the whole thing and I was able to recollect the whole thing. So it's amazing. So Shaila, if a guy testifies, I don't remember, and then he testifies the next day, I do remember, is that kivin shehigit tshuva nechayzer magid? Is that what?
No.
So is it? I'm asking a question. Is that considered the first one testimony? So there's actually machlokes rishonim here. The Agois Ashri says if he said it in Bezdin, then it's considered testimony. But the Mordchi says that that's not testimony. He's saying, I don't remember, I don't recall. It's not that I remember this Maisa, but it happened like this and this. It was Reuben, and the next day he says Shimon. He just says, I don't recall, and then he recalls. That's not. Don't think it's so posh. Machlokes rishonim. Okay. Not awesome. So we're jumping into Tumah for a second. Don't get all nervous. If there's a dead body, we just had it in the parasha, by the way. I just realized. We just had it in the parasha. Is it goy metama boil? Is it goy metama? Is his body metama, period? So it says in the parasha that the swords, they became tamei from the swords. So you become tamei from touching a dead body, but not oil. But anyways, oil. If there's a dead body, and you put your hand over it, you make a cover over a body, you become tamei. So if you go over a grave, come tamei. Every time we talk about it, we talk about here in Mapet Shemesh, in the center, there's 2 giant pipes that come out of the ground, and if you're wondering what they are, there's tumah under the ground. They found bones and stuff, so it lets the ear. There's the airway. If there's the air, if the tefach, then the tumah could escape, and then when you go over that grass area, you don't become tamei. Fine. But you found a mound. The mound could contain a body in it. You have to be choishish that maybe there's a body in there. Now, let me just tell you, we're going all the way to the Mishnah here, and we're just doing this for one reason. How long is a memory? Does a memory last? So when it comes to bodies buried, people remember up to 60 years. After 60 years, they forget. But when it comes to eidos, the Gemara says at the end, don't bring a raya from bodies. If I make you an aid, you can remember 80 years. I'm telling you, commit it to your memory. Commit to my memory, 80 years. Just that I remember there's a body buried here doesn't mean anything. When I was a kid, I told you this, I think. I went to a camp in Komemiot where the guy jumped off and he died, the whole thing. I remembered, maybe if somebody was there and has a picture, I remember playing over there on the street, right touching the asphalt of the street, there's a grave. Somebody's buried right by the street. You remember something like that, but only 60 years. Okay, but nobody told me to commit it to memory, but I remember the buried. Fine. So what we're going to learn here is that if there's a mound, it's tar if it's new and far away. But if it's old, so maybe somebody buried a body there. And if it's close to the city, and we're talking about city, there's a cemetery close to the city. Maybe a woman came and buried her navel there. Maybe somebody buried something there. Maybe they dropped a dead body in a rush right before Shabbos. They put the body in this mountain and they ran away. So that's what we're going to learn here for a second. Whether it's close to the city or it's on a pathway. Now I want to show you something amazing that happened this morning. I was looking for a picture of a mound, okay? And I was about to go away from this picture and I said, maybe I'll edit it a little bit. I didn't like it that much. And then I looked on the bottom of the picture, I couldn't believe it. I might show you this morning. Are you able to see this at all? Still not. Anyways, this is the picture. A picture of a mound on a path. That's why I typed in Google, path with mounds. Okay? What does it say on the bottom? You're not going to believe this. Within the larger of the 2 mounds, Mound B, cremated remains were found. Cremated remains were found along with the L-shaped row of axe heads, copper spools, and projectile points. Many of these items did not originate in Mississippi. Evidence of trade. And it says this is the path through Bynum Indian mound site on the Natchez Trace Parkway, if you want to look it up. Mamish this morning, nobody told me about this. I was just looking for a picture. Punk! You think, oh, mound, there's a body in the mound? Yes, Zman Hazeh from Mississippi. There's bodies in a mound. Huh? Yeah, I guess, I don't know. It's
the lady didn't cremate the baby.
No.
Right.
Anyways, look, the Gemara. It says like this. I don't care if the mound is an old one or a new one. Tmeyais, they are tamei. Why? Because maybe, as we're going to see, maybe a woman who's embarrassed that she just had a miscarriage, she'll run there before anybody finds out, bury her baby there. Her choykos, far away from the city. Then chadash is tahir. If it's brand new, then the tar, because people would know what. Why is there all of a sudden a gravesite over here? People talk about this stuff. Somebody died over there. So if it's new, nobody's dead in there. Yishana is, but if it's old, maybe many years ago, somebody placed a body there and we forgot about it. Yishana is to make. This is all to get to one point about the 60 years of memory. What's considered close? 50 amma. Vezi Yishana, Shishim Shana. 60 years, Divir Meir. In other words, even if it's within 50 amma, it could be far away. Why? Because there's a closer mound, and that's where everybody's burying. So you have a second mound that's 32 amma away, still tar. Yishana, Shein Odom Zechus, nobody remembers, it's not about 60, it's not about 50. People don't remember. Asking more, my ear, my derech, what does this mean? Ilay me ear mamish, derech mamish, a path in a city. We don't like sveikis when it comes to tuma. We try to do everything we can to allow kohanim to roam around there. Yisrael. They found any kind of way to make. You don't say, oh, maybe in this little mountain there's a dead body. Because it's close to basic forest. V'derech basic forest. This is the pathway to the basic forest. And the Gemara explains. Imagine you're on a levaya, you don't have a clock, you don't have a watch, you don't know what time it is. You just look at the sun. You say, oh, I can bury this guy before Shabbos. And all of a sudden you see, you're 2 minutes before Shkia. You take the body, you put it in a mountain. You say, I'll come back on Sunday and bury him. And then Sunday comes along and say, you know what? I think it was a good, forget it. Just leave him there. So that's the problem. Maybe there's a body there. Earlier, well, just because there's a city, a giant city, and there's like Bechemish. So there's one basic forest over there on that side on Fish, whatever it's called. That's why all the other streets are considered tamei. You have women who bury their nefalim. This is crazy. I mean, people that lost their, all of a sudden his hand falls off. By the way, if somebody's hand falls off, lo yaleinu, is he mechuyev to bury it? We bury limbs, right? The answer is no. You're not mechuyev to bury it. The only reason we bury limbs, there's no mitzvah to bury a limb. You can put it in the garbage can. The only reason we bury it is because we don't want kohanim to be tamei. The kohen in Rebbe Fall in the koil, he came over to me and tell me, very interesting. If somebody had an accident, or let's say his finger got chopped off, happens a lot, and he runs to the hospital and they reattach his finger. His finger is an Ever Menachai. They reattach it. They sew it back. He says like this. Sometimes it could take weeks for it to attach to the body, right? They attach it, they put a few there. So those weeks, or however long it is, that it's not 100% attached, it's an Ever Menachai. So this guy's walking around with the Ever Menachai in a hospital, in a shul, on a bus. He's making everybody tamei. It's also for him to go out of his house. That's the psak. He's walking around with the Ever Menachai, a shocker. If he's a kohen, he has to detach it from his body and run. What if the kohen dies? What does he do then? Great kasha, Levi. More than 50 years, she's scared. She's scared to go to the basic forest, like that lady that went in the basic forest. She's mamish tzitering, so she asked she saw another lady. She said, "Could you walk me through the basic forest?" I'm mamish scared. She goes, I also used to be very scared when I was alive. Okay. The bottom line is, we see from Meir, you people remember up to 60 years. Says Gemara, that's not true. From here you can't prove anything from basic forest. Why? When it comes to basic forest. Nobody told him to remember, to commit it to memory. So the memory lasts for 60 years. Hatzlacha, given the Ramale. Since somebody told him. By the way, I'm a good Maisa, real quick, not a good Maisa, but I just realized there's a guy, an 88-year-old guy that said that this is his 4th Birkas HaChama. He's at a Birkas HaChama. So he said, how's it possible? You're only 88 years old. So it means that the first one, you're 4 years old. He said that he's standing at the Birkas HaChama and his father pinched him. He says, what are you doing? He says, I want you to remember this Birkas HaChama. It's Rami Alei. He committed to memory. There's a reason why I remember it. So by Eidos, it's different than just remembering that there's that person. Afilu tu benami. Have a great day. Have a wonderful day.